Hello guys, I hope you're doing good and alright. On today's episode, we're going to talk about a few things. I think will be really I think, quite powerful for you, and some things that have been happening in my own personal life, and some lessons I've kind of learned from it, and some kind of ways moving forward. Because at the moment I'm in a certain situation. I think it will be could be amusing, but it could be really we can relate to it a lot, and seeing how sometimes that we can feel so we don't feel alone, or that we feel oh, this has happened to me as well, or that we feel next time it happens I can do this and this and this and this to help. And some things there's a saying I want to say. Anyway, hope you enjoy today's episode.
So the big question is this: how can dyslexics like us create a place, a community, a tribe, where people at any stage of life can come and solve any challenge, amplify their strengths, and ultimately help them become who they were meant to be? Or in other words, conquer their dyslexia. That is the question, and this show is the answer. My name's Theo Goff, and welcome to the Conquering Dyslexia podcast.
Okay guys, I know that was a bad intro and sorry about the audio quality. One of my headphones that I used to do, one of the earbuds lost. So I've tested this audio. Now it's just a normal regular phone. It seems okay. I hope it's doing good for you. But I want to start today off. What I want to talk about is, let's start off talking about my experience and that kind of things I went through recently. So at the moment I'm in Thailand. I have a couple of days off work, and I basically planned so much stuff to do, as in to have a couple of days off work. It's so easy to go to an island here with beaches and stuff. I was gonna go with my friend to this island called Koh Phangan, but they weren't going, and I still had the time off work. I was whatever, I'll go anyway. And so I went there, and I was when I sort of do things by myself, as it were, I'm so focused about the things I want to do. I want to do this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and regimented and pick things, you know what I mean? Getting things done in a certain order, and so I'm going to do this, and this, and this each day. I have to get this done. And I came to this island about 3 days ago. I haven't been doing it. I've been doing some things. I've been doing my running. I've done a few words. But I haven't been doing as much as I wanted to. And sort of feelings a bit this is how I feel, and this is I'm confident that dyslexia has a lot of part to this. I think another part of just my own personality, or who I am. And I think it is important to know the difference between dyslexia and other parts of your personality. And I believe that dyslexia is a part of your personality. And I never felt normal when it comes to talking to people, when it comes to conversations, or having friends, or keeping in touch with friends, and all that kind of stuff. I've never felt I get it, because I remember going through schooling. I remember moving to a big sixth form and being so scared, not knowing how to socialise, wanting to have these experiences and not knowing how. And that whole process of not knowing how, hating everything in my life, and realising I'm in control of everything, working really hard on myself, being confident. And then basically realising and realising my perceived limitations of my English, working on that, doing things I never believed was possible in a 2-year gap from my basically sixth form, 2 years. And that whole started me off the journey, because I had cripplingly low confidence. It would be very severe social anxiety. If you look at me, well, I wouldn't say very severe. I could leave my house most of the time. People used to look at me. I used to do sort of shake. I used to get butterflies in my stomach. When I remember my mouth used to hurt, because I used to just open my mouth at all. The whole day on the bus home, I'd be my jaw. And all these things, and then I worked on it, and I realised that the only way to change your life is to take responsibility of your life, and it's all up to you. And then I changed when I say I changed, but one thing I realized at the end of that, I changed because I wanted to become this person that's confident, this person can speak to anyone, the person that can, you mean, chat to all these girls or do all these things. And then coming to the end of that, like, I did do those things. I did like chat. I did kind of like be confident. By the end of it, I realized something really important. It's like all these people that I thought I wanted, like, to go to parties, to do this, to go to like hang out and do all these different things. I kind of realized at the end of my sixth form is that it's not being confident. It's not about doing things. It's not about being loud. It's not about acting like that person. It's about being comfortable in your own skin. It's about not changing yourself depending on the situation around you, and just acting how you'd always act. And like, and I remember like, so that, and like about 6 months after I finished my sixth form, it was like a boxing sixth form, and one thing they like kind of promised us to do is this is a part of like government programs, they take us to Tenerife. It's like a little island, and do some boxing there with boxing. It's like an ACE program, so there's multiple different boxing academies in the UK, and they all go to this island to kind of train and get all the coaches together, blah 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 blah. And it was a great laugh. I was there for 2 weeks, and basically every single night we went out. Basically, it was fun. I loved it the first couple of days. Then guess what? I started hating it. Like, I wanted to go out, kind of like just push myself, and everyone else was, I thought I should. And then, yeah, it could be peer pressure or whatever. It could be because I've never experienced this before. But anyway, kept on going out, and I hated it. I couldn't wait to go home. And part of this is a couple reasons. And the truth be told, I don't know if you're going to relate to this or not, but I want to. Could be like, yes, it could be saying it for helping me, like, voice it out. But I have a feeling that a lot of us do feel like this. Because when we're dyslexic, we feel like we're on the outside sometimes, and we feel like we have to act a certain way to get in, or to be a certain thing, or to mold ourselves into who we think we should be, to be like, to be this, to be that. And that's not only for dyslexia, that's for everyone. But sometimes it's more for us dyslexics because we do operate differently, we do think differently, we do learn differently. And then I remember coming to the end of my this holiday. I hated it. I wanted to go home because I knew something that was like, they were partying, going out drinking every night. It's not for me. And when I say it's not for me, like, it doesn't give me a lot of motivation. I love it going out one night. If I haven't been out in a while, going out on one night, I just love it. Like, I can talk to everyone. I'm so happy. The next day, the last thing I want to do is go out. I remember one night, like, going out and then sort of like staying up all night with a couple people. And then the next day, I was like staying on until like 10 a.m. and then I realised, oh God, I got to go back to my room and stuff. And when I realised the next day, I went downstairs to get some food. I got some food and I saw the people I hanged out with, and I'm very good friends with them. And oh, hey! I was like, oh, hey! And I walked upstairs as fast as I could. I was like, it's not that I don't like them or I don't want to hang out with them. It's just that I can't be asked. And I do consider myself as like an introvert. But when I say I can't be asked, it's like, it's just too much. It's just hard. Anyway, where's this relating to is like, I've got a lot of stuff I want to say, but I want to talk about this. It's like relating to, it is about knowing yourself, and it's about like, I feel oftentimes, I guess with relationships, not like just with like friends and stuff like that, it's just like, if I have no reason to contact you, it's hard for me to do that. If you contact me, fine, like blah blah blah. If I have no strong reason or desire to contact you, I won't. And that's not like, it doesn't mean because you're not my friend, it's because I'm not focused on it. And like, if anything said, like, if I needed to contact you, obviously I would, and I know you'd be there for you, and vice versa. But for me, I know that people are people, and like, I don't know where, I think this is a strong part of my dyslexia. I think I'm very visual, I'm very good at understanding people, and I've learned a lot when it comes to understanding people. But I think like, you see people acting, and right now, so basically where I am right now, this island, very busy. It's like a party island. There's a thing called a forming party, blah 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 blah. It's happening tonight, today, next night, but it's so too busy in my mind. And my mum's a bit like it, and it's just like, I don't like too many people that I, you know what I mean? It's just too much. It's just too much. And like, when it gets like this, I did go out yesterday, like in the evening, but I left early. I was had enough, so tired. I had enough. It's like when you push yourself to be social, and I was like, I'm pushing myself too much. I have to go back. And I remember speaking to other people who aren't like this, who were saying, I mean, being social is easy, you just do it. And for me, it's not. It's calculated. For me, being social, and I don't know if you relate to this, like, there's different versions of yourself. There's, let's say, going out or enjoying yourself or talking to people, and then there's a social part of you, talking to people, energetic, blah 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 blah. And obviously, if you're socializing with different groups, there's a different part of you. But I know 100%, like, where I found my confidence, like where I've truly found is when I started going to personal development events, because I'd force myself to, like, all these free events in London. I'll just go to this place and I'd try and speak about something and sell something or whatever. So I'd sit down and force myself to say hi to people next to us. But because the topic was about something more intellectual, I don't mean like, oh, I'm intellectual, but I mean it's something that I can help get my head around, it's more of a purpose for, I could be more social. Instead of just talking to people for the sake of talking to people. And I find just talking to people for the sake of talking to people is fine once in a while, but not all the time, because, like, I don't mean this in, I know I care about everyone, blah, 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 blah. When it comes to dyslexia, when it comes to things like, I actually care talking about, I care a lot, but I don't care about just talking for the sake of talking. I know I'm just doing podcast, but I'm talking about important topics, not about stuff. Like, and that's how I feel. And here it's just like, now it's like, I'm like, I haven't been out really, and go out, it's beautiful, but it's just like, I don't want to go out and socialise, I don't want to be near people, I just want to do my thing, that's what I want. And a part of me goes, oh no, you should go out, socialise, what's wrong with you? And just be me, just do what I want. Like, I know that I'm not changing, it's not because I'm not confident, it's just because I don't want to. There's a difference. There's a difference between not wanting to talk to someone and not being confident enough to talk to someone. Now, if I'm in an environment where I want to do something, I'm incredibly confident. But if I don't want to, like, I don't want to talk. But I suppose it's my fault for going to, like, a little pie island for 5 days and so much work I want to get done. I've got a bit done, I've got, like, very important bits, but I haven't got the other bits done. And there's two ways of looking at this. This is going to my, like, second point that I want to talk about. One way of dealing with this is sort of like either saying what's wrong with me or complaining about the world, you know, like about this person, about that person, or if this person did this, or what's wrong with me, why, like what's the thing that I can't control, that I'm focusing on, that I'm moaning. Or I could focus on, okay, how can I learn from this, how can I kind of like grow from this? And it's like, it moves on to what I want to, like, another topic that I want to talk about. It's kind of like how I wanted to start this, but I couldn't find the right way of saying it without, like, easing into it. And it's about dyslexia, and it's about the amount of time. So at the moment, I'm doing this Davis dyslexia method. I'm doing these words a couple each day, and it takes some time. It's actually hard to focus on it, to do it. It requires a lot of discipline. Not easy, and not very fun, if I'm being honest. But like, I'm doing this partially for myself, but I'm doing this 95% because to say that I've done it, to have my own personal experience of it, so I can go and help others. You see, and like, I'm putting so much time, so much effort into understanding dyslexia, not just for myself, but like everything that's out to it. I'm doing this David dyslexia method. I'm doing I want to do so many different things. I'm creating, like, I'm going to find everything else out there, like, to help people with dyslexia, with reading, with writing, or things like that, especially with reading and writing, because that's kind of trackable, and that's kind of what people are looking for. That's kind of the common thing. I know it's not where ultimately where more the pain lies, or where, because ultimately the pain lies by in your beliefs. I said before many times, the worst thing about dyslexia is what you believe about dyslexia. It's not reading, it's not writing, it's what you believe about it and what you believe about yourself. Believe you're stupid, you act it. If you believe you can't do this, you can't do this. Believe you can't do that, you can't do that. And that gives me, bringing me to another point of my kind of like personality, and you might have this as well. When I'm around my friends, like people that I can just be myself with, like when it comes to just being like, you know what I mean, I'm an idiot, like full on. I forget things, people's names, this, that. I'm an absolute idiot when it comes to those things. I'm not beating myself down, or I'm not saying like I'm on like, it doesn't hurt me self-esteem, but I forget everyone's names, don't know where I'm going, lose things all the time, get lost all the time. So many different things all the time. And I think that's why like other people find it so much more easier. I just find it harder, and it's a lot stressful for me. And maybe that's one of the reasons why I could find it hard to just normal socialize with people, because the things they find normal, I find hard. Because you talk about someone, about a place or location, oh, have you been here? I just go, oh no, I haven't, I don't think so. Or they say the name of a place, or have you been here? Like, like honestly, I have no idea. Probably not, but I have no idea, because my mum drives, like, she's like a couple years ago, but I've lived at my place for like 15 years more. So we drive around the place more than a mile, or like 2 miles outside my house, or even a mile. I still don't know the names of the road. 2 miles around there, 2 miles outside of the house. If my mum's just driving, you know what I mean, or if I'm just driving, I still don't know the name of the road. I don't know kind of where it is. The only reason I would know it is because I've set my TomTom to the same route over and over and over again. Go, oh, I know I'm connecting here to here to here to here. Then I'll be at this destination. But it's not like I can turn off the TomTom or sat nav or like on my maps on my phone and go one place, then another place off my head. Like, I can't. And that sense of direction is difficult. And now I say, have you been in this place? I always go, no. I'll go, you pretend you know it. You don't. It's like football. I'm not into football, but if you say you're into football, people talk to you. These are little social tricks that you have to do. And it's like, my brother, he lives in Thailand, and I hang out with him a couple of times. And like his mates are proper like lads, proper like mates. And when I ask a question I actually want to ask, everyone's like, oh God, Theo, shut up. Like my brother says, oh God, Theo, shut up. And everyone like kind of like laughs or go, oh, I see in this guy, because everyone's just chatting about shit. I'm like, okay, what do you do? Oh, you own gyms, or how long you been in gyms, or you own a restaurant, or how long you been doing? But I'll just, you know what I mean? I want to know people, and how I know people is asking questions about themselves. But typically, like lads or people from London, but like guys or whatever, they don't ask personal questions. It's not like I like want to know, you know what I mean? I just want to understand, because I find that fascinating. I feel if I understand you, one, I enjoy the conversation, and two, I feel like it's better. And that's just not socially normal. Anyway, because that's what I find interesting and things like that. That's why I like going to these development events, because that's a hot topic, is talking to people about like themselves or yourself, or asking questions. Anyway, one of the biggest points I was saying about this is about understanding dyslexia. And there's a saying I heard yesterday, and it's like this Buddhist saying, talking about like Buddhism and all this kind of stuff. And it's quite cool, Buddhism, because it's like, it doesn't teach you about like the God or whatever. It just says, here, this is life, you know what I mean? And here's suffering, and here's like the way to end the suffering. And that's basically it. It's not easy, of course, but one little saying is so like cool. It's like, have you ever ridden a bike with like flat tire, or with like less air in the tire? It's hard, especially if you're pedaling it. It's really hard. I remember coming home from work one day. I used to like work in schools and be like, go like agencies put me in like special needs schools and stuff. I was working in schools in the UK, and it's one of these like centres for people who can't go to school. No, people that basically get kicked out of school and go to these like, I'm gonna say correction centres. It's like a lot more smaller, a lot more kind of like intimate. All these kids that can't really handle a normal school environment because they're naughty or whatever. So many reasons, but not just naughty at all. So many reasons. So it's complex. It's like very complex. Anyway, I rode there one day, and I had put my bike inside the place, and all these kids started taking all the air out of the tire. And I was like, oh, for God's sake. And I didn't really think about how hard it'd be riding home. But riding home, it was so hard. Going uphill was so hard riding home. It was like good, like 10-mile ride back. And I was sweating, and I kind of loved it in a sense because I know my legs were getting stronger. Anyway, but it was so hard doing this. And I remember it's so hard, but kind of the saying is like, it's like life. It's like riding a bike with a flat tire. It's hard. It's like living life with like an issue, with like suffering or like with pain. It's hard. But we know it's a flat tire, and it's our bike, so we got to pump up the tire. And that's fine. It's life. But here's where most people think, and this hit me so hard. What if you're riding a bike with a flat tire, and you didn't know it was flat, and you went over a bump, and then it's like, oh God, it's so much effort. Why is it so hard to cycle? Why is it so hard to go all these bumps? Why is it so uncomfortable? Why can't they fix the road? Because you're thinking your bike is normal. You're thinking your bike is perfect. It doesn't need any work to or any upkeep to it. And yet you're moaning why it's so much harder for you because you're blaming all the potholes. You're blaming on everything they ride on. But actually the potholes isn't the problem, the bike is. Because you can fix the bike, you can't fix the potholes. And that's kind of life in a sense. It's like, so true. It's realizing that like you got to fix yourself. You can't, like, yourself's the problem. You're creating suffering you're feeling. And this goes the same for dyslexia. All the suffering we get in our job, all the suffering we get in our education, all the suffering we get in our day-to-day life due to our dyslexia, that suffering is self-inflicted. Now, what I mean by this is like, I know it's a long-form podcast. Anyway, what I mean by this is that when it's self-inflicted, it's like dyslexia doesn't cause suffering. What causes suffering? What causes you to like have that pain inside of your head, thinking, "Oh God"? It's not the event. It's not spelling that word wrong. It's not the person telling you off. It's not this. It's not that. It's not the event. It's what that event means to you. Does that make sense? What that means to you. Think about it. If like someone kisses you, and it's most like, you know, a girl or boy, and for me, like most attractive girl you'd ever imagine, you know what I mean, and a good, amazing personality is like this, and they come in and they just gave you a kiss, like, you know what I mean, big kiss on the cheek or whatever, or just like, you mean kiss on the cheek or whatever, you smell like this, look like this, and move like this, move in a certain way, I'd be like, oh, I'd get a certain feeling, I'm like, oh, and then with the little kiss. But then if mum kissed me on the cheek, I'd be like, yeah, it's nice, yeah, I love you, whatever, mum. But like, what was the difference? Like, it's just a kiss. Like, still same feeling, but yet the difference is what I made it mean to me. The meaning I gave it made me feel differently. Does that make sense? Everything in life comes down to the meaning we give things. And it's kind of interesting. Anyway, guys, just like realizing that we are the problem, but that our suffering is self-caused, and we got to work on ourselves to fix it. And that's really, really important. And there was a toolbook and manual, and if you listen to this podcast, you will work on that, because the biggest thing is the suffering we cause by ourselves, not the dyslexia. And the last thing is that I want to talk about today. I could have split some to 2 podcasts, really. I should have. Anyway, double serving. The last thing I want to talk about is dyslexia. The information about dyslexia, because I'm doing it to help others. If you're doing it to help yourself, it's the majority of dyslexics out there. Or even really if you help yourself, it's more applicable. But if you want to help someone else, like one person, or maybe you're like, you mean your child or your educator. Maybe educator's different, because I consider myself an educator. But if you're doing it for yourself, you just need to learn what's applicable for you. Simply, like, have a good understanding of dyslexia. Don't make it complex. It's simple. Dyslexia is simple. Keep it simple. Keep it stupid simple. And then once you keep it stupid simple, and then it's good. And then don't realize all suffering is self-caused. And that's it. It's not about understanding everything about dyslexia, because there's no point understanding everything about dyslexia. It's only a point about what you can do with the information you have, how it's going to make you learn better, how it's going to make you apply more, how it's going to make you realize your strengths, realize that you actually have a gift, and that kind of thing. It's go on your own little journey, and don't let dyslexia stop you. Realize suffering is self-caused, and learn what you need to learn and keep on going forward, because if you spend all the time moaning about dyslexia or moaning about how the schools do something different, how the governments do stuff different, moaning doesn't do a lot. Like, yes, you cause go on rallies or sign petitions 100%, but if you complain about it to your spouse or to the people down the pub, you're focusing on the wrong thing. You're not doing something about it. You're not letting your dyslexia. You're letting dyslexia use you, because you're letting it stop your negative side of it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed today's podcast. See you guys later, and goodbye.